meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to call it to order. Would you, staff, please note the presence of a quorum?
Mr. Bunkefest.
Present.
Dr. Keene.
Present.
Mr. Clarino. Mr. Plummer. Here. Mr. Buller.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the minutes of August 13th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve minutes.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments on the minutes? If not, we can do this by voice vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And there was no nays, that was unanimous, so we'll move on now to the review of rules and procedures.
For all petitions, tonight's meeting has the following structure. The department will summarize the petition and describe what action, if any, is necessary to be taken. Then the petitioner will be given up to 15 minutes to present to the board. The president will open a public hearing. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to speak. Those representing a group will be given 5 minutes to speak. Only one member of the group will be given 5 minutes to speak, and for efficiency purposes, we ask that those representing a group speak first. The public hearing will be closed when all interested members of the audience have had a chance to be heard and all emails received during the meeting have been provided to board members. The petitioner will then have a chance to respond to comments, and the board will follow with any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the petition. Please do not disrupt the proceedings in any way. If you need to have a private discussion, we ask that you please quietly exit the room. Please silence your devices at this time, and if you must answer them, then please quietly exit the room. If you're attending in person and wish to speak in regards to a petition scheduled for a public hearing, once the public hearing is opened by the president, please approach the podium and write your name and address into the sign-in sheet that is right here. If you're not attending in person, comments regarding a petition should be emailed to planners@westfield.in.gov with the petition name or number included in the subject line, and those comments will be forwarded to board members and the petitioner. During your comments, please state your name and address into the microphone for the record. We ask that you not repeat previously stated comments. Your presentation will be timed, and you'll be advised when there's approximately 30 seconds remaining. We'd like to remind everyone to please speak directly into the microphone so your comments can be put onto the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have an item of business and then 3 public hearings, and I don't know if I have to do this by a voter, but I'd like to move the first public hearing to the 3rd public hearing, since we have a board member who is a member of that organization.
It's the second one.
It's the first public hearing, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
So he's a member of the Lions Club and has to recuse himself from
Sure.
here, so he can just recuse himself and head out.
Okay, noted that the item 2409 VS 28 will be now the
Third public
4th item on the agenda, 3rd public hearing item for the evening.
Okay, so we'll proceed now with the first item of business, which is a continuation from the August meeting, 118 Penn Street. Dane, this is your...
Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is proposed development standard to modify business district architectural standards for a new commercial building located at 118 Penn Street. This item had a public hearing at the August 13th BZA meeting, and it was continued until this evening. So the petitioner could further revise architectural renderings for which substantial compliance will be required. As you may see in Exhibit 4, the building elevations have been revised, and with the primary entrance to the building being located on Penn Street rather than the east facade fronting the parking lot, the site plan has been slightly modified as well. This item is eligible for a vote this evening. Dave Sobzak of Sobzak Construction is present this evening on behalf of the petitioners and is available for questions if there are any.
Thank you very much. Dave, are you going to make a presentation?
There we go. Good evening, Board President and members of the board. Dave Subzak, Subzak Construction here in Westfield. As Dane stated, we were at our first presentation in August. A couple details were a little bit foggy. A couple things were in question, and so we asked for a continuance to make a few changes where the entrance came around to the south side, which faces Penn Street, looks a little bit more welcoming, and actually ended up being a pretty good option for us as far as the flow of the building and the parking and all that stuff. So We made some changes to the siding and really tried to tie it in. But last time we had some board and batten siding on it. It didn't quite blend with the historic area that we're in. But I think now that we've made some revisions, and our project architect is also here tonight, that we feel it does fit pretty good, and we kind of hit all the standards. So it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and welcoming.
Any board members have any questions?
I just wanted to say thank you, and really, I appreciate all the attention to detail and the work that you guys have put in. Sorry. People tell me my voice carries, so sometimes I try to do.
I heard you.
Just wanted to say thank you and for taking the time and attention to detail. This looks much improved, I think.
Yeah, these guys
I
are
think it
our
looks
project
really good.
architect, James, and the owners with a bunch of input.
I know it's a long process and, just trying to come up with the right answer, but I think it's much appreciated, so.
Yeah, I would say the same
welcome.
thing. I would say it's solid.
Motion to adjourn.
That's why we moved things so he could get out of here early. Any other questions? And hopefully no other comments? With that, okay. Then I will entertain a motion on this item of business.
Motion to approve. Motion to approve 2408 VS 25.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second, any discussion?
Can the motion be amended to include the conditions in the staff report?
Sorry, motion to approve 2408 VS 25 with the conditions noted in the staff report.
Who's the second on that one?
I'm a second.
Is that you, Jeff? All right. All right. Dr. Keen,
Yes.
Mr. Buller,
Yes.
Mr. Plummer,
Yes.
Mr. Bunkefest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll watch the progress.
Fun begins.
I will follow up a motion for recommended findings of fact.
I'll make a second on that.
All right, we have a motion and a second on findings of fact. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Dr. Keen,
Yes?
Mr. Buller,
Yes.
Mr. Plummer,
Yes.
Mr. Bunkefest.
Yes.
Findings of fact are approved.
All right, on to the public hearings. Our first public hearing will now be 2409-VU-08910 West 161st Street, Concordia Wireless. Dane?
Let's see, move these exhibits around here. All right. Evening, members of the board. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is a variance of use request to temporarily permit the ground-mounted installation of a wireless communication service facility on 1.46 acres in the SF2 Single-Family Low-Density District at 910 West 161st Street. The aforementioned communication facility typically exists atop the existing water tower on the property. Although wireless communication facilities are not permitted in the SF2 district, Article 6.20B of the UDO states that they may be permitted in any zoning district where the antennas are to be located upon pre-existing structures or buildings owned or operated by public utilities. Because the water tower is proposed to be repaired, the temporary move of the antenna from atop the tower to the ground necessitates the variance of use. As the petitioner has stated, that the antenna will be ground-mounted from September 2024 through June 2025, staff is recommending that the proposed variance expire on July 31st, 2025. As the board may recall, a similar variance was granted on East Street at the BZA's February meeting earlier this year. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. The department has received no comments. Representation on behalf of the petition is virtually present this evening if the board has questions. Thank you.
We've seen this before in a different location, so I would just say, I don't see the necessity for a presentation, but do any board members have any questions about this particular item? Seeing no questions, I would entertain a motion on this item.
Gotta do the public
Oh, I'm
hearing.
sorry. Trying to rush through to get you out of here. This requires a public hearing, so therefore I will open the public hearing on this, on item 2409-VU-08 at 7:11. Just a reminder, if anybody happens to be watching online can send this in. We'll monitor email. Any email commentary coming in?
No emails right now.
Okay, then, no one's here to speak, so I will close the public hearing at 7:12. Now, I will entertain a motion on item 2409-VU-08.
Make a motion to approve 2409 VU 08 with the recommended conditions as shown in the staff report.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Plummer? Yes. Mr. Buckafest?
Yes.
Dr. Keen?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
I will now entertain a motion on findings of fact.
I'll make a motion on findings of fact.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I will
Second.
It's yours.
We have a motion and a second, which was fought over. Any questions, comments? None? Seeing
No,
none,
sir.
please call the roll.
Mr. Plummer?
Yes.
Mr. Buckafest?
Yes.
Dr. Keen?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Findings of fact are approved.
Thank you. Going on to the next public hearing, 217 Mill Street, Something Splendid. Dean.
There we go. All right, good evening, members of the board. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is a variance of use request to make permanent an existing temporary variance at 217 Mill Street, home of the gift shop Something Splendid. At the board's September 14, 2021 BZA meeting, the temporary variance was granted with an expiration date of December 31st, 2026. The temporary nature of the approval was due to the downtown area's future plans still being somewhat unknown at the time. As the future of the downtown area's focus has become more clear over the last 3 years, it is evident that the existing temporary variance would be favorable if it were extended into permanency. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. One public comment was received in favor of the petition, and it has been provided to board members this evening. Mr. Petruzzi is present on behalf of the proposal, if there are any questions. Thank you.
I'm assuming that means no presentation, so,
No planned presentation, nope.
okay. The board members, any questions about this particular item? I do have one. I passed by this all the time, and Thursday nights, it's right across from the farmer's market. I'm just wondering, is this a coffee shop now, or is this, you're expanding the usage into more, longer hours and more time?
It is not a coffee shop, but it is a wine shop with a wine gallery in the backyard, still a gift shop in the front yard. Their hours are Monday through Wednesday, 10:30 to 5:30. Thursday and Friday and Saturday, they open till 9 p.m.
Okay. Our particular item here says retail use gift and coffee shop with bakery and limited seating.
Yeah, that was the original variance that was approved.
Okay, so now it's going to just be what it is now, the wine shop and the wine area and gift shop and everything, or it's wide open?
No, it's still tied to the petitioner's narrative in the original variance. It's just the variance will no longer be temporary.
Okay.
Could you state your name?
Oh, I'm
and
sorry,
address?
Dean Petruzzi,
For the record, yeah.
my home address, or
Yeah, home address, fine.
20283 Chatham Creek Drive, Westfield, Indiana.
The only question I have, any other questions? Okay, then I will have a public hearing. I will open a public hearing on this particular item at 7:15. It's a really nice little outdoor seating area. Any, no comments? Okay, then I will close the public hearing at 7:16. I will now entertain a motion on this item.
I will make a motion to approve 2409 VU 09 with staff's recommended conditions.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Plummer? Yes. Mr. Bunkevest?
Yes.
Dr. Keen?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes,
Motion carries.
Entertain a motion on findings of fact.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Plummer? Yes. Mr. Bunkevest?
Yes.
Dr. Keen?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes,
Findings of fact are approved.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, you're most welcome. We're going to save you all 2 minutes. Saving you 2 or 3 minutes.
Let the record show Mr. Bowler could not, he wanted to take his time tonight, say goodbye to everybody, did not rush out at all.
You're gonna miss all the plan commission comments, with everything we did.
And
Okay.
Jeff Buller has left the building at 7:17 PM.
And then to confirm, we do need a 3-0 vote for any approval, correct, now that he's left?
Yep.
So.
All right, our last public hearing item is Westfield Lions Club. Dane.
Let's see, here we go. All right. Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is a request to modify lot size and lot frontage standards in order to subdivide an existing 1.3 acre property into 2 lots with an aggregate 1.07 acre footprint after the necessary right-of-way is to be dedicated. Though the property is zoned enclosed industrial, which requires 3 acre tract sizes, in 1990, the BZA approved a variance for the entirety of South Park Business Park to permit lots as small as 1.3 acres. The Lions Club operates out of the existing building at the southwest area of the property, while a State Farm insurance agent operates out of the building at the northeast area of the property. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. The department has received no public comments, and Dave Sobzak with the Lions Club would like to give a brief presentation, after which he'll be available for questions.
Good evening, President Keenan, members of the board. This time I'm here on behalf of the Westfield Lions Club. We used to be located for many years on Jersey Street, where the new Old Town development is, just north of the park. With that development well underway now, we relocated and found this property. When we first bought it, we thought it might be a neat idea because it had the two properties there, but the building to the south of it is the one that we're going to occupy, and we're well underway with renovations and the addition to that to make it a really nice clubhouse and community center. We were approached by our tenant, so that building actually was leased or rented when we purchased the property, so we honored the lease to a local State Farm agent. He approached us to buy it. We don't need to be in the landlord business. That's not what the Lions Club does, so we thought, gosh, that'd be a good idea. We'll just see if we sell this to Drew. But in order to do that, we already have a variance on our property for our use, but to get it, we'd ask for a variance of standards for road frontage and lot size, because we'd split him off. And then we'll be slightly undersized on our road frontage, but there's an easement created on that short north-south property line there that allows access to him as well as to us in the back to get to our parking area and service that area.
Any questions? Okay. This requires a public hearing, so I will open a public hearing at 7:20. Any emails on this? No emails?
No emails.
No one is here to speak, so I will close the public hearing at 7:21. We'll again ask, any comments? No? Then I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve 2409 VS 28 with the recommended conditions in the staff report.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Plummer? Yes. Mr. Bunkenfest?
Yes.
Dr. Keen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'll now entertain a motion on findings of fact.
Motion to approve the findings of fact of 2409 VS 28.
Second.
We have a second. Any comments? Please call the roll.
Mr. Plummer? Yes. Mr. Bunkenfest?
Yes.
Dr. Keen?
Yes.
Findings of fact are approved.
Thank you very much for your patience as we
Thank
shifted
you.
around tonight.
That finishes the public hearing on items of business, so we have nothing continued to a future meeting. So we're now to reports and comments. Plan Commission liaison. I will report on what happened last week at the Plan Commission meeting. It's pretty full agenda. We approved these are all forwarded recommendations for the restaurant at Park Street and Jersey Street. I think that was approved last night, too, since they left their agenda behind on that. I-Beach 31, which is out on 181st Street and Grand Park Boulevard, that was also given a favorable recommendation. Courtyards at Celio Ranch, which is 161st Street, just west of the Monon Trail. That was given a favorable recommendation. Kimblewick 3 had a public hearing, and I think we'll be moving to a work session. There were a lot of crowd comments about that, audience commentary, and plus there was commentary from the Plan Commission. There's going to be a lot of work to do on that moving forward. So North Point PUD, which is dealing with the height of some of the buildings to make it competitive with surrounding communities, that was presented and that was given a favorable recommendation and forwarded. Talked about the tree bank. We'll talk about the tree bank again, which is simply if trees are in the ordinance needed, are supposed to be there, but they're not really needed because of some other things, and the money would have spent on that's going to be spent on community beautification. Seems like a pretty good idea, overseen by the park director. And finally, we gave a favorable recommendation to a food truck ordinance. So it was a lot of things forwarded to the council. Community development, any questions?
Nope, the
Comments?
only thing I would say is the food truck ordinance actually will be going to workshop.
Oh, is it going to workshop? Okay.
Yep, I think there were some things to just discuss on preferences and whatnot, so. But other than that, nope, that's it.
With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is closed. Adjourned.
7:25.